All right, so today we're jumping into this really powerful story about one man's journey through recovery. And let me tell you, it is chaotic, it's hilarious, and it's deeply moving. This is a story where the biggest battles aren't just with addiction, but with stuff like IKEA coffee tables, imaginary ferrets, and really just the absurd, beautiful mess of trying to stay alive. Okay, let's get into it.
And wow, that line just perfectly captures the voice of our protagonist, Kay. It's dark, it's funny, and it throws us right into his world, a place where, physical and emotional bruises are just part of the daily landscape. So, if you're expecting some simple, straightforward tale of redemption, you are in for a surprise. This is a tragic comedy, and Kay is absolutely the star.
So, where do we first meet our hero? Not in some moment of triumph, no. We meet him at rock bottom, or maybe more accurately, face down in a pot of basil on his living room floor. And it's this absurd crisis that really sets the stage for everything that's about to follow.
Now, this is what's so interesting, this central relationship. On one side, you've got Kay, a total whirlwind of chaos, a self-described performance artist of pain. And then you have his partner, Ray, who is the complete opposite. She's the anchor in his storm, his accountability buddy, the one trying to ground him with tough love and detox juice after seeing him through just countless overdoses and hangovers.
Okay, so here's the thing. After sleepwalking and totally face-planting his coffee table, Kay's hypochondria just goes into overdrive. He does what we all do, right? He goes down this late-night internet rabbit hole and latches onto this absolutely terrifying self-diagnosis. And this becomes the real inciting incident, the wake-up call that forces him to finally confront his own self-destructive lifestyle.
So that brings us to Act 2. After the whole concussion scare, Kay and Ray begin this messy, often hilarious process of trying to build a new, safer life, one bubble-wrapped corner at a time. And this timeline, it just gives you this raw, unfiltered look at the reality of withdrawal. It shows you recovery is not a straight line. Ray actually keeps a logbook, and it captures everything, the intense cravings, the little victories like sleeping for 6 hours straight, and the pure absurdity of, trying to French kiss the coffee maker. It proves that progress is messy, but it is still progress.
So, as part of his recovery, Kay finds himself at this support group called Sleepwalkers and Parasomniacs Anonymous. Parasomnias, by the way, are basically just these really disruptive sleep disorders, things like sleepwalking or talking. And the group is exactly as surreal as it sounds. But instead of judgment, he finds this tribe of fellow weirdos confessing to sleep-ordering gnomes, and it's a huge turning point. For the first time, surrounded by people who argue with toasters, his own chaos starts to feel, well, normal.
Now, after months of steady, really hard-won progress, the story takes a sharp turn. We start building to the absolute lowest point, where a perfect storm of pressure just leads to a relapse.
292 days. Just let that number sink in for a moment. That's over 40 weeks. It's nearly 10 months of waking up every single day and making the conscious choice to fight. It's this incredible stretch of building new habits, of rediscovering life. It's just a monumental achievement.
And then, just 2 cigarettes. After all that effort, all that fighting, in a single moment where the weight of the world feels unbearable, he slips. And it feels like all 292 of those days just vanished.
So what caused it? Well, it wasn't just one thing. It was everything hitting at once. The basil plant he'd been nurturing, this little symbol of his own growth, it dies. He has a terrible fight with Ray, and then Pascal, his friend and mentor, ends up in the ICU. It's this total convergence of crises that just pushes him right over the edge.
But, the slip isn't where the story ends, not even close. This is where it really shifts. Kay picks himself back up, but this time he's not just relying on willpower. He's armed with new skills to face the same old fears.
And just when you think he's getting his footing back, bam, he gets this absolutely terrifying voicemail from his doctor. Now, the old Kay would have spiraled into a panic all by himself, but the new Tay, he actually tells Ray, and they decide they're going to face the fear of this MRI scan together. It's a huge step forward.
And then comes the ultimate test. An old friend, Dev, shows up at his door offering heroin. This is a direct confrontation with his past, forcing him to make an active, real-time choice between the life he's building and the one that nearly killed him.
So how does he do it? With this, Operation Basil Blast. And yeah, it's an absurd but brilliant counter-ritual he worked out with his therapist. It's physical, It's ridiculous, and it's memorable enough to override that temptation, and it's exactly what he uses to get Dev out of his apartment. It's such a powerful lesson. Recovery isn't just about willpower, it's about having a concrete, even a ridiculous plan for your absolute weakest moments. And this brings us to the final act. Kay's journey culminates not in some perfect, happy ending, but in a place of fragile, hard-won stability, which he decides to test out on a comedy stage.
365 days, a full year. And to mark this incredible milestone, he doesn't just celebrate quietly. No, he books himself an open mic slot to perform a comedy set about his recovery. He's literally facing his fears by turning them into jokes.
And this is his opening line. He takes the clinical reality of his sleep apnea and his CPAP machine, something that could easily be seen as another failure of his body, and he transforms it into this hilarious, totally relatable observation. He is taking control of the narrative and just owning his story.
I mean, this is the ultimate transformation, right? He's taking the most humiliating, painful moment, the one that kicked this whole thing off, and he's turning it into a punchline. He's no longer the victim of his chaos, he's the one telling the story.
And his closing line, wow. It's just perfect. It's poetic, it's defiant, and it perfectly captures his new philosophy. He's not pretending the temptation is gone forever. Instead, he's choosing to cultivate life, to grow basil in his lungs, you could say, and to leave the ghosts of his past outside where they belong.
So, the story leaves us right there, with that really powerful idea. It reminds us that recovery isn't some finish line you cross. It's a daily, active, and yeah, sometimes hilarious choice to just tell death to take a number because you're busy living. The real punchline in the end is that there is no punchline, just the choice to keep writing the story.